I'm Richard Southern in the 680 newsroom. Bit of a topsy-turvy week for stock markets. What with trade worry emerging again, the White House wants more tariffs, increased tariffs on Chinese imports. Everyone talking about Apple this week. The technology giant notching now a $1 trillion market cap. Apple is the first U.S. publicly traded company ever to have a market value of $1 trillion. That's a 1 with 12 zeros behind it. Apple stock is up 50,000% from its IPO in 1980. It's up about 22% this year. The earnings that came in this past week, quite good indeed. Shocker from Aeroplan this past week. It rejected Air Canada's takeover bid, although the two sides seem to still be talking. Ben Schlappig is a world-renowned points expert, and he thinks that Air Canada will still end up buying Aeroplan.
I absolutely do think Air Canada will be victorious here, and I think at this point they're just haggling over price. It's quite a price difference they're coming from, but I definitely think this is bound to happen.
As it stands now, with no agreement with Air Canada, what should I do with my Aeroplan miles? Should I spend them before 2020? What do you think, Ben?
Yes, so my philosophy across the board with miles is always earn them and burn them, because over time miles devalue. They become worth less. Airlines tend to devalue award charts. I would certainly take what we have now and what we know is the case over what is, regardless an uncertain future, regardless of whether Air Canada takes over the program or whether Aeroplan's independent, what the program would look like in a couple of years. So I would highly recommend redeeming now if you have the option.
Aeroplan and its parent company, Aimia, inking a deal with Toronto-based Porter Airlines as well, whereby users may be able to use their points on Porter going forward. Wow, crazy news out of the beverage business this past week. Molson Coors inking a deal with a Canadian cannabis producer to come out with weed beer. No kidding, it would be non-alcoholic beer infused with cannabis, so 0 calories, but you still get a buzz. Well, many younger people, they're tapping the bank of mom and dad these days, and that can be financially troubling for parents. But for one couple, it worked out just fine. Parents Jackie and Mike Bezos invested $245,000 in their son's little startup back in 1995. It was called Amazon. They didn't know if it would work. In fact, their son Jeff said, listen, Mom and Dad, I don't think this is going to work. Be careful about putting your money in. They did anyways to help them out. And it worked out okay. That investment worth $30 billion today. And it's believed now that Jackie and Mike Bezos own 16 million Amazon shares, 3.4% of the company. They could be within the world's 30 richest people, just because they wanted to help out their son back in 1995. Quite the story indeed. Well, we love our dogs, don't we? And people are spending more money than ever on their dogs, and there's some high-tech gadgets now they're buying. I want to show you some of them. First off, the Furbo surveillance camera. See what your furry friend is up to. While you're at work, there's two-way audio and video. You can even push a button on your phone, and it dispenses a treat, $169. Hands-free dog leash for $16. Carry your phone, carry your coffee, go for a run. No worries. Pet GPS tracker. I think this is cool. You put it on your dog's collar, download the app, see where your dog is at all times for $80. The iFetch. Tired of throwing the ball around? Maybe it's too gross, the ball levels with spit all over it from your dog. This alleviates it. It's the iFetch. Touch a button that shoots the balls 30 feet away. The doggy treadmill for those who don't want to bring Fido for a walk. 650 big ones for that. Finally, McDonald's this past week marking the 50th anniversary of its famous Big Mac sandwich, and to do that, it's coming out with Big Mac currency. No kidding. It is called the Mac Coin. You get one when you buy a Big Mac. You can then redeem it for another Big Mac, a free one, anywhere in the world. And it was inspired, the company, to do this by something called the Big Mac Index, which The Economist magazine started back in 1986. It's a way of measuring purchasing power across international currencies by looking at the ubiquitous ingredients of the Big Mac and looking at what a Big Mac costs in each country. By the way, fun fact for you, when the Big Mac first came out 50 years ago, you know what they called it? The Aristocrat. Remember that for your trivia nights. In the 680 newsroom, Richard Southern, City News.